This video is sponsored by Surfshark. So then, it has finally happened. All those fears for Dungeons & Dragons, all the worry of the last 2 years for all of RPGs, everything that we've been talking about, that I've been warning about on the channel for the last year, it's finally arrived. Hasbro Wizards have revealed their ultimate hand. All the scandals, all the press statements, all the leaks, it has all been leading to this. Last year, then president of Wizards of the Coast, Cynthia Williams, and unfortunate current president of Hasbro, Chris Koch, spoke in an investor call about how Dungeons & Dragons was under-monetized and how they wanted to create more recurrent revenue from the franchise. In a video produced after this, I talked about what this could all mean for the future of Dungeons & Dragons and why I was extremely worried that it could spell disaster. Unfortunately, this week, Hasbro went further than I ever thought they would, at least this soon in the program. They have definitely astounded a lot of other people, and personally, I'm shocked. Because not only have Hasbro gone hardcore after the entire RPG hobby, but also my weekend plans are now going to have to consist of furiously reading erotic Grima Wormtongue fanfiction and eating pancake mix out of the jar. It's genuinely the only thing that I think that can save me. And if you're not aware of what I'm talking about, I envy you. Unfortunately, I have to now destroy your idyllic happiness, much like Grima Wormtongue ruined the idyllic happiness of the Shire. Well, the new Dungeons & Dragons 2024 5.5 6th edition 1D&D launch is almost here, and the marketing campaign and the hype blitz has really kicked off this week. If you're like me, your RPG feed has been swarmed by D&D news about the new edition everywhere. Hasbro are banging the drum. New Dungeons & Dragons is coming. New Dungeons & Dragons is coming. And that should be really excited. I should be really happy about this. And I would be. Honestly, I would be. But this week, the worst possible news that we could ever get just dropped as Hasbro Wizards revealed the future of Dungeons & Dragons going forward, as they unveiled this brand new pre-order bonus chart for D&D. That's right, video game pre-order culture has now arrived in the RPG market with all the grace and dignity of an incontinent flasher in a public park. Hasbro Wizards have plunged their hands deep into the latrine and screamed, "Money please," like an eager gong farmer. But this gets even worse, because here is what players can expect to get if they hand Hasbro Wizards $180 today, no questions asked. Yes, this all costs $180. That is the price for all 3 books. And that's a discounted price. That's $60 off in bundle savings, as Hasbro euphemistically put it in this chart. Sold separately, these will actually cost $240. And let me be clear, this may look like a parody, but it's not. This is real. This is official. This is happening. It's on the D&D website. There's banner ads for this thing everywhere. This is now what buying a Dungeons & Dragons book looks like in 2024. I mean, this chart is just a video game DLC chart, one that would give Ubisoft or Activision or Blizzard or almost every single major video game publisher now a run for their money. In fact, it's even worse than the worst excesses of the video game industry, an industry that for the last 15 years has pretty much grossly been trying to one-up itself when it comes to financial gluttony, as it went all in on confusing pre-order bonuses and DLC charts, saying, "Look ma, look how far down I can go," as they plunge deeper and deeper and deeper into the abyss. And yet this D&D pre-order chart is the worst one that I've ever seen, and I'm including the video game industry in that list. This thing is an insult to role players. It's incredibly gross. And before we go any further, I have to be extremely clear here. There is no reason to pre-order the new edition of Dungeons & Dragons. The entire idea of pre-ordering D&D, especially the digital edition, is absurd. It makes no sense at all. Dungeons & Dragons is ubiquitous. It is massive, and I guarantee that the new edition will not be hard to find at launch. If you want this game at launch, you'll be able to buy it, and you'll be able to get it from your local store or an online retailer if you need to. And in that context, we have to question why. Why does this pre-order chart exist? Why does this system exist at all in the first place? Because let's not forget, pre-orders were originally created to help with the problem of scarcity. It only makes sense to pre-order a product in a world where the final product is hard to get on release. Pre-orders should simply be a guarantee that you get a product that you need at launch so that you can play it as soon as it releases. But D&D will be flooding your local store. It will be on Amazon. You'll even be able to pirate the PDF if you really want to. No one needs to pre-order Dungeons and Dragons. Pre-orders are of no benefit to consumers in this case. It does not help us to be given the option to give all of our money to Hasbro early, essentially a loan to the great corporate god. No, the only people who benefit from this entire pre-order system is Hasbro themselves, and not even all of Hasbro, just the bad bits. This doesn't help the creatives or anyone who actually worked on the game who have contributed to Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, they've all already been paid, or in a lot of cases, fired. No, this system is for the executives. They want to drive huge pre-orders so that they can brag to investors early, so that they can guarantee dividends to their shareholders, so that they can pay themselves bonuses today and get all of that sweet cash before they've done anything at all to actually earn any of that money. After all, if they had to wait for the thing to come out before people bought it, if they had to do that, then people might choose not to buy it. Ooh. No. Money now, please. But pre-orders, and even worse, creating tiers of bonuses for pre-ordering isn't good for any of us. This entire system is a trick, a psychological manipulation. It's designed to get players invested in a product before it has even launched. It's merely a tool to create hype by separating out role players into two categories: those who have access to the exclusives and those who don't. And then on top of that, to ask for a D&D Beyond subscription to get access to that pre-order period, I mean, that's going to run an additional $5 fee monthly. Are they not happy with the $180 that they're already being given here? This is how resentment is created amongst the player base, by players, for other players. And it doesn't even stop here. This is just the beginning. It all gets so much worse. But first, I need to tell you about today's sponsor, Surfshark. Because Surfshark is a VPN that encrypts your online identity when you're on the internet, protecting your personal data from both criminals and big companies and snoopy old crones who otherwise track everything you do, blocking all sorts of content, changing prices of products depending on where you are in the world, and censoring the internet before your very eyes. For example, one of my favorite shows is Decker. It's available only on Adult Swim and only in the USA, but I'm in Ireland. But not to worry, I can simply open Surfshark up, and with just a few clicks, I can change my virtual location, unblocking every single piece of Decker content online and allowing me to view that sweet American liberty. And this works everywhere, whether you're traveling abroad and want to get content from home, or you're home and want to get content that's traveling abroad. Oh, plus Surfshark even masks your IP address, ensuring that you are guaranteed privacy while looking up your favorite funny movies. Not to mention that Surfshark Clean Web feature blocks ads, trackers, malware, and phishing attempts. So take that one, Mom. So check out Surfshark using my code Dungeons and Discourse to get an extra 4 months free with Surfshark. There's a link in the description below, and that comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So there's absolutely no risk to trying it out. So help support the channel, use code Dungeons and Discourse. Okay, so if you thought all that pre-order stuff was bad before, I'm sorry, it's not over. Hasbro Wizards also have the gall to try and convince role players to shell over money, not just for the new player's handbook, the only book that we have actually gotten substantive glimpses at and can start to see whether it's worth buying or not, but they are trying to convince us to fork over $180 for all 3 books today. That includes the 2 books we haven't seen yet, the Monster Manual and the DM's Guide. I mean, will the new Monster Manual be good? Will it be worth $60? Will the new DM's Guide fix all the many problems that the previous one had and actually be worth buying? I mean, mean, we just don't know. We can't make an informed decision on that. And yet here is Hasbro demanding that we pay them almost $200 right now to buy these products that we haven't even seen. Trying to put the pressure on to make us buy these products now. Because if we don't do that, then we're gonna have to wait weeks after everybody else to play the game. We're gonna miss out. And how do we know that this product will actually be worth the extra cash? I mean, we can't assess that at all. We just can't know. And that's just the products that we're actually likely to eventually get. Most of the products and bonuses here merely exist to have the dual purpose of pushing players into the new digital virtual tabletop system and D&D Beyond, both spaces where Hasbro Wizards can pump up the monetization of players with recurrent revenue spending as they so desperately want to add, inundating players with even more dice skins and digital minis and exclusive bonuses and subscription fees and psychological tricks, amplifying all the problems that I've talked about when it comes to pre-orders, but times like a million jillion. That's even more than a million. I mean, ultimately, this pre-order chart complicates just a really simple choice. Do you want to buy a digital version of the new D&D book or a physical one? That's it. That's all you need to decide. And really, you don't even need to make that choice right now. We should be deciding that way closer to release, like on the day. And yet, while all of this is awful, all of this is terrible for everybody, I have no doubt that these pre-orders are still going to sell really, really well. Of course they will. People are desperate to get their hands on a game, one that they're excited for. I mean, this is an update to a game that many people, including myself, have been waiting years for, almost a decade for. People want to support a game line that they've had tons of great times with, that they can share with their friends. I feel that too. I mean, of course people are going to buy this now, because pre-ordering D&D is the only way to actually get the game on its release date. If you don't pre-order, then you're going to have to wait an extra 2 weeks while everyone else gets to play. And that FOMO manipulation is so incredibly powerful. That's why EA sell early access. It's why Ubisoft sell early access. It's why the video game industry now routinely sells early access to products at a premium, staggering the release dates of games and making the experience miserable for everyone, especially those who can't afford to just throw down $180 right now just because Hasbro want it. And even worse, I really must emphasize that Hasbro have gone further than anyone else ever before them. Not even Ubisoft, for God's sake, has the temerity to push a 2-week pre-order early access period. Even they only go to 3 days of early access. This is a wild amount of time to have to watch other people get to play with those new books, to endure the conversations and excitement and hype and peer pressure from everyone around you, from the spaces that you inhabit, from the other people in your hobby, especially when, for many D&D groups, the launch of the new edition, when the hype is at the maximum, when people are most invested, that will be likely the only time that they can get their entire group into a room to finally play a game without someone missing the session because they suddenly had a bizarre karate tournament emergency on the way over, i.e. they just didn't feel up for D&D that day, Kyle. And that experience of just getting around a table to play the game alongside everyone else has been utterly robbed of us by Hasbro Wizards. This psychological manipulation for money is the sort of thing only a psychopath could come up with. Literally a human with the mind of a shark, or you know what, not a shark. Sharks are too cool. They have the mind of a blobfish. This isn't even an original idea. It's just taken to its most logical, basest, cynical conclusion. And ultimately, this is a disservice to both the audience for this game and the games itself. This pre-order chart, this entire strategy, it turns role-playing games into cynical cash cows. And if we don't stand up against this now, at this line, then the future of Dungeons & Dragons is really bleak, because we are going to have to deal with this exact same thing with every new book. We're gonna have weeks of early access for every D&D product, and it's not gonna stop there. If this makes money, if this is successful, then it will be adopted by the rest of the RPG industry too. Pre-order bonuses, horse DLC, glow-in-the-dark condoms. These things always start small with one instance. A golden dragon virtual mini here, a pre-order chart there. But if you want to see what the RPG industry will look like like in 15 years after this chart if this takes off? Just look at the video game market. That is our future unless we take a stand now. And we must. These pre-order trinkets are not worth the damage it will do to our industry and hobby. I will not be pre-ordering Dungeons and Dragons. No way, no goddamn how. Not until this pre-order chart is done and dusted. And I implore everyone to do the same. And if this resonated with you, please check out my Patreon to help support the content, because I've started getting demonetized a lot more by YouTube, and it's only thanks to Patreon that I can keep making these videos. So check it out on patreon.com/discourse miniatures. Or if you can't, just subscribe to the channel or give it a like or just leave a comment. It all helps. Your support is so appreciated. Thank you so much, especially to my patrons like CryptoKev, and I'll catch you all next time. Bye-bye. Oh, and thanks to Surfshark for sponsoring today's video.